Welcome to the Morning Download Podcast, your go-to resource for personal finance, economics, and market insights. In just 8 minutes a day, we provide valuable information to help you make better money decisions. Don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter at https://www.morningdownload.com/subscribe. Let's dive right in. In today's episode, we'll cover the market drop, rising inflation, stock performance, secure personal finances, and the challenges faced by stock traders, including tips to remember and expert insights.
The latest inflation data is out, and it turns out that the numbers are a bit higher than what was expected. In January, the Consumer Price Index increased by 0.3%, which is slightly more than the anticipated 0.2%. And when we look at the annual gain, it came in at 3.1%, down from 3.4% in December. Now let's break it down a bit. Food prices went up by 0.4%, and the biggest contributor to this increase was shelter prices, which jumped by 0.6%. In fact, shelter prices accounted for more than 2/3 of the overall increase. On an annual basis, shelter prices rose by 6%. But it's not just food and shelter that got more expensive. Electricity costs went up by 1.2%, airline fares increased by 1.4%, and even eggs jumped by 3.4%. On the bright side, though, energy prices fell by 0.9%, mainly because of a decrease in gas prices. And speaking of items getting cheaper, used vehicle prices declined by 3.4%, apparel costs fell by 0.7%, and ham prices dropped by 3.1%. Medical commodities also decreased by 0.6%. Now, it's worth noting that inflation-adjusted hourly earnings rose by 0.3% for the month, and when we look at real average hourly earnings, they actually went up by 1.4% compared to a year ago. Finally, the annual target for inflation remains at 2%, which the Federal Reserve hopes to achieve this year. Moving on to some global news, Japan's Nikkei stock index hit a 34-year high, which is pretty impressive. And over in New York, ESPN Bet is planning to launch, making it the largest betting market in the United States. Now, that's a big move. Lastly, Germany's economy is expected to have overtaken Japan's. So, some interesting developments there. Stocks took a hit recently due to concerns over inflation and the potential for the Federal Reserve to keep interest rates higher for longer than expected. This led to a sell-off, with the Dow, which closed at a record high on Monday, experiencing a drop. In addition to stocks, bonds also saw a sell-off, resulting in the yield on the 10-year Treasury note reaching its highest level since November. In the world of earnings, toy companies are facing challenges as the cost of toys rises. Hasbro reported a 20% decrease in fourth quarter revenue and provided weak guidance. The company also posted larger losses than in the previous year. On a positive note, Hasbro plans to cut $750 million in costs by the end of 2025. Biogen also faced a decline in fourth quarter revenue and profit, largely due to dropping its Alzheimer's drug, Aduhelm. However, the company did receive FDA approval for its drug Leqembi, which slows the progression of Alzheimer's. Coca-Cola, on the other hand, met expectations thanks to higher prices, despite a decrease in North American volume. In an interesting turn of events, Nvidia has surpassed Google and Amazon in value, largely due to the boom in AI chips. Finally, Jeff Gundlach of DoubleLine warns that stocks are currently overvalued, a sentiment to keep in mind. Here are some tips that can help you improve your financial situation. First of all, budgeting is key. After going through personal finance guides or videos, take the time to sit down and create a budget. And guess what? There are now plenty of budgeting apps available, like Mint and YNAB, that make it easier than ever. These apps give you the ability to set financial goals, manage your investments, categorize your spending, and so much more. Of course, if you prefer a more traditional approach, you can always use tools like Excel or Microsoft Word. Now, let's talk about saving and making money. The key to growing your wealth is both saving what you make and finding ways to earn more. If you think you deserve a raise, don't be afraid to ask for one. And considering taking on some side gigs. Freelancing, for example, can be a fantastic way to earn extra cash, with some freelancers making over $50 per hour. Don't forget about starting an emergency fund as well, and try to keep at least 6 times your monthly expenses in it. When it comes to managing your finances, it's also important to understand taxes and insurance. Yes, they can be complicated, but having a grasp on these areas will save you both money and potential legal issues. Pay your taxes, but be smart about it. There are often incentives and rebates that can help reduce your tax burden. And don't forget about insurance either. Even when it's not mandatory, having insurance in place can protect you in case of unexpected events. Lastly, it's never too early to start saving for retirement, so get started today with a retirement savings plan. And before we wrap up, we highly recommend checking out a video that explains what not to do when it comes to managing your money. Knowledge is power, right? So make sure you're equipped with all the right information to make smart financial decisions. Remember, personal finance is a journey, and by taking these tips to heart, you can work towards achieving a more secure financial life. Have you ever played roulette? It's a game where you place your bets on a spinning wheel and hope that luck is on your side. Well, according to Benjamin Graham, the same principle applies to stock trading. In other words, the odds are stacked against you. Think about it. When you trade stocks, there are expenses involved. You have to pay for the trades you make, whether it's through commissions or other fees. These expenses can eat into your profits and make it harder for you to come out ahead. It's like the dice being heavily weighted against you. No matter how skilled you are as a trader, these expenses can make it difficult to make consistent gains. It's a sobering reality that every stock trader needs to be aware of, but don't let this discourage you entirely. While the expenses of trading may weigh against you, there are still strategies you can use to improve your chances. Benjamin Graham himself was a proponent of value investing, which involves analyzing a company's fundamentals to find undervalued stocks. So, the next time you're trading stocks, keep in mind that the expenses of trading may be working against you, but with the right approach, you can still find opportunities for success.
In today's episode, we covered a range of topics, including the market drop, rising inflation, and the impact on stocks, as well as offering some helpful financial tips to remember. We also discussed the latest consumer price index data, the strong performance of Japan's Nikkei and Germany's economy, and the concerns around higher interest rates. Additionally, we highlighted the latest company reports from Hasbro, Biogen, and Coca-Cola, as well as NVIDIA's impressive value. Lastly, we provided valuable advice on securing personal finances and highlighted the detrimental costs that stock traders like gamblers face. Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Download, your go-to podcast for personal finance, economics, and market insights in just 8 minutes a day. Don't forget to subscribe for more helpful content and sign up for our free newsletter at Morning Download. Comms, subscribe.